Happy Holy Hump Day on this January 5th, everyone. I'm Pastor Robert. Welcome to this midweek time where I can share some spiritual thoughts and reflections with you. This is the first Holy Hump Day video of the new year, so Happy New Year. Tomorrow is Epiphany Day, which is the conclusion of the Christmas season, so Merry Christmas. I'm here at our church building up on our third floor where many Bible studies have been held. My pastor's Bible studies have been held up here. It's a wonderful space. You can see the newsprint behind me and the table and the chairs, and it's just a great space. But because of the pandemic, we moved to an online Zoom approach, which has been wonderful because we've been able to reach people beyond our local area. And one of those persons is Josh King, who has been co-teaching the pastor's Bible studies with me. He is a PhD candidate in New Testament studies and early Christianity at Loyola University in Chicago. So he's able to join us through Zoom from Chicago, offering his biblical academic background. And I really appreciated teaming up with Josh. We're going to team up again for a new winter's Bible study, and that will begin on Monday, January 17th at 6:30 in the evening. And it typically lasts a little bit before 8 p.m. each week. It's going to be for 5 weeks, this particular pastor's Bible study. It'll go through February 14th. And our topic this year is going to be on social issues and the Bible. And for that, we're going to be using a resource, a very important resource that the United Methodist Church has called the Book of Resolutions, as well as the social principles from the Book of Discipline. And every 4 years, laity and clergy meet as part of the General Conference to look at these social issues and to come up with a faith perspective on each of these very important issues. And they cover many different issues. And so the Book of Resolutions is a pretty big book. And so we're going to be looking at 5 issues for this pastor's Bible study. We're going to be looking at economic injustice. We're going to be looking at abortion, racism, gender identity, and church and state. Those are big issues. And I think it's really helpful that we have this United Methodist resource to be able to see what laity and clergy have developed in terms of their stance on behalf of the United Methodist Church. And it doesn't mean that we have to believe in what is written or everything that's stated. It's meant to be a tool for us as part of our Methodist Wesleyan quadrilateral in our approach of faith. And so just to review that, the quadrilateral is having the scriptures, that's primary, but we also realize that we look at the scriptures through various lenses that are very helpful. Church tradition being one. Another one is experience. It's important to look at our faith and the Bible from various experiences, including our own. And then also reason. We believe that our faith perspective should be grounded in reason. And so that's the quadrilateral: the Bible, church tradition, experience, and reason. And the Book of Resolutions and the stances on these social issues really provides part of that quadrilateral approach, listening to what other Christians believe about these different issues and using that as a tool. And then Josh is going to provide some biblical information for us based on each of these social issues. And so let me give you an example of how this has been helpful to me, especially as a pastor. I remember one year at a church I was serving, there was someone had just graduated from high school, and they were contemplating if they should enter into the military. Their family had been very active in the military, and so this person was really interested in enlisting in the military, and he wanted to know what the United Methodist Church's stance was for a Christian to go into the military. And so I pulled the Book of Resolutions off my shelf, and this is what I shared with him. And I did say to him that this is just one piece of a lot of different information that it would be important for you to get in discerning this very important decision whether or not to enter the military. But this is what the Book of Resolutions says under the topic military service. And there's more to this than what I'm going to read to you, but this is what I shared with this person who was interested in knowing more about Christians entering the military. The Book of Resolutions says, We support and extend the ministry of the church to those persons who conscientiously oppose all war or any particular war, and who therefore refuse to serve in the armed forces or to cooperate with systems of military conscription. We also support and extend the church's ministry to all persons. This includes those who conscientiously choose to serve in the armed forces or to accept alternative service. When persons choose to serve in the armed forces, we support their right to adequate care for injuries suffered and advocate for sufficient resources to meet their physical and mental health needs, both during and after their service. We are aware that we can become guilty both by military action and by conscientious objection, and that we all are dependent on God's forgiveness. And so I shared that with him, and then I also shared some scriptures that I thought would be helpful for him to wrestle with and think about before making the decision. And he actually ended up not enlisting in the military, not because there was any information based on the Book of Resolutions, saying that you shouldn't go in. It was just that he felt that he would go to college, and he has done well in his life, and so I keep up with him. So that's just an example of a social issue, and using this resource to help in thinking through our own faith perspective about these stances. I invite you to join us for worship this Sunday. It will be Baptism of the Lord Sunday. It's something that's done every year, where we read about Jesus being baptized by John the Baptist, and that was really the beginning of Jesus' ministry. And it's also an opportunity for us to reflect on our own baptism and renew our baptism. And sometimes people will come to me and say, I want to know more about the meaning of baptism. Well, this will be the Sunday, because I'm going to use the sermon to talk about water and spirit. That is the theme for this Sunday's worship. So join us for worship this Sunday for Baptism of the Lord Sunday. And join us for the Bible study that I've been talking about here. Send me your email address, and we will sign you up, and you will get a Zoom link closer to that January 17th, that first session of Social Issues and the Bible Zoom Bible study.